Hey there, you, me, and DC fans, and welcome if you're new. I am the stepson of Krypton, coming to you today with Superman number 34, the next in the DCKO tie-ins. Things are starting to really get good here. We're getting down to the final four in the KO event here, so I don't want to waste a whole lot of time. Let's just go ahead and get on into the issue. All right, guys. So this one opens up kind of where we've been in the last few issues. We're in the fortress, except this time it's long ago. We see the army of Superman robots being constructed, and we see they don't have quite the level of power of Superman, especially strength wise, which, we all knew. But we find out that these ones do have his memories. The question is, do they have his sense of responsibility? And we can see there are different versions of the Superman robots as they learn more and more about the technology. If you look in the background, you can see the change in the symbols on the robots. And while what they're talking about right now is the latest version, they even believe they are Superman, yet they still will choose to save themselves over sacrifice. Apparently, they aren't programmed with the three laws. And I say that because, in this double page here, this on the side, we see the I Superman, which makes me think of iRobot, hence the three laws. Again, they still need a better understanding of how the Kryptonian tech works before they are field tested. So they deactivate them for now and will consult with robotic experts like Red Tornado, clearly, Mr. Terrific, and Will Magnus, who is the creator of the Metal Men and the foremost expert in robotics, who actually kind of worked under Tio Mora, who created Red Tornado. We then jump back to the current time over the Arctic, where Superboy Prime, the Super Hard Drive, and Superwoman are finally off to get the information inside Superdrive to Time Trapper. And as they try to get a hold of what is left of the Justice League, Superboy Prime seems to be feeling a little too optimistic. Boom. Suddenly, fire shoots up out of the Arctic, an apocalyptic fire pit, and they get their first look at how the Earth is turning into Darkseid's new home. However, the Superman robot hears the cries of people needing help. Back in the fortress, the other Superman robots are using their freeze breath to keep the Dark Legion at bay and give our heroes time to complete their mission. But it would seem backup has arrived, and not for the robots. Lightning Lad, Saturn Girl, and Cosmic Boy have finally made it to the fortress, and Lightning Lad still seems to think, for whatever reason, that he could take Superboy Prime, just posturing at this point, while Saturn Girl's kind of in awe of the fortress. Keep in mind, a lot of these, they've not seen the fortress before. Although, them being the Dark Legion, I don't know how that would have worked. But regardless, poor Kalex, his encounter with Cosmic Boy doesn't go too well, and he is crushed after refusing to give them any information. Let's hope that robots don't feel pain. Saturn Girl gets a look at how the Legion was and is such an important part of Superman's life. They worship him, but he's not their leader, and they, his army, they are his family. Whereas Darkseid is their leader, and they worship him. But Darkseid worships nothing. He cares for nothing and no one, including them. But thanks to Sunboy, they now know what the others were trying to do here in the fortress. So why bother chasing them? We then get one whole page dedicated to the KO event as we see Superman and Lex have made it to the final four. And I bet Mantis is just loving this because he is the sports fan of the group here. And as they kind of look out over this new arena, Superman points out this isn't another arena created by the heart. This is their home. This is Earth. However, Superman robot is off like a bat out of hell or a Superman out of a fire pit, but not to complete their mission. He must first save the people calling for help. After all, it is what Superman would do. As he and Prime talk, keeping in mind that the robots have most of Superman's memories, Superbot there drops the Superman's not mad at you, he's just disappointed line on him that even Prime kind of calls him out for. So As they get to the people who are needing help, they realize it is the Royal Flush Gang. And at first, given kind of what's been going on in the world with the villains kind of being amped up by Neron, you might think that's what's happening. And it definitely what Prime think is happening. He's ready for a fight. But Superbot sees something else. They're afraid. They did not think that it was actually the world coming to an end. So they've been pulling jobs and stealing money, only to realize there is no Earth left and nowhere to spend the money they stole. Luckily, however, the Justice League has left a transport in the upper atmosphere in case of stragglers. But because they are technically villains, we'll have to go into holding. However, the transports in space and upper atmosphere have not fared too well thanks to good old Granny Goodness. But regardless of all of this, they still must get Super Hard Drive to Time Trapper. Meanwhile, Prime wants to get to the fight and into the tournament, and he leaves the party. Prime has left the party. Lois and Robo Soups head to the Watchtower only to find destruction. They were betrayed. No longer is our time controlling team slowing time to help the team. They have been boosted. And we see Time Trapper, aka Doomsday, looking like he just got done fighting with Superman. And Lois is kind of brought up to speed about how Darkseid infused Booster with the Omega energy to take control of him. But Lois still has the important information for Time Trapper. And in true superhero and villain fashion, they kind of waste so much time going back and forth about each other not being what they appear to be between Superman robot and Doomsday. And just as Superbot is about to tell Doomsday the important news, boom, the Dark Legion has arrived. See, like, why chase them down if you knew where they were going to be? And also, in true villain fashion, they don't want to kill them. They want to talk and they want them to draw things out until someone comes to foil their plans. And as Cosmic Boy is doing a number on Superdrive, they hold Lois to see which one of them will crack first. And it would seem Lois cares about more than just the information in Super M.2. She cares about the robot. And if not right on cue, we see the red eyes appear in the smoke. Superboy Prime is back. And for those of you who don't know his full story, he kind of gives you a quick insight into his backstory with the whole killing a bunch of people and how he lost control before. But now he looks pissed. They have his BFF.
Don't fuck with my BFF!
And he is done holding back. It's fucking prime time, baby. And that is where we leave things. All right, guys. So I actually really loved this issue of Superman. I know we normally don't cover the actual Superman run in what we do. We've been covering the KO event and we do the absolute, everything going on in there. Go check those out. I've been trying to do my best to link to everything going on in the KO event and all the videos that we have, the playlist we have. So go check those out. While you're doing that, let me know what you thought about this issue, what you think about the KO event. And while you're doing that, you might as well go ahead and give the video a like, subscribing to the channel, and having your bell notifications clicked so you will get alerted as all the new videos release. In just comics as it is, I'm recording this on Wednesday. I'm going to try to have it out tomorrow. So like these just released today because we have 8 comics we have to do this week alone, not to mention our other videos. So have your notifications checked, get alerted when we get them. And we definitely thank you for taking time to watch our videos. So keep this issue as short as is humanly possible. That is going to wrap it for me on this episode of You, Me, and DC. Until next time, guys, I'll see you then.